Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Pyromancer here, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all having a wonderful day, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world, and it finally happened, as predicted by many people. The Shadowlands release date has been announced today. It is going to be October 26th for most of the segments of the world in the West, so the United States and Canada, and everything in South America. And then if you're in Central Europe or to the east of Central Europe, so Paris basically and over, it is technically going to be October 27th. So again, for NA, it's going to release 4 p.m. Los Angeles time for the United States and everyone in that region, which is amazing. I'm very excited. I'm hesitant a little bit, right? Because I think there's still maybe some pretty major adjustments that need to be made to the game before that happens. So I'm a little bit nervous about that. But I'm hoping that Blizzard can execute on that and take us forward with a refined and polished expansion. So, remaining hopeful about that, and I'm hoping that the systems work as we as the players want them to, and maybe a little bit less as Blizzard wants them to. So, that's just my perspective on that. Along with the announcement for the release date, they did release Shadowlands Afterlives Bastion, which is an animated like a short video, you could call it that, but this cinematic is almost 7 minutes long, and oh my gosh, there is a lot of lore implication to pull from this. So this video is going to be less a reaction and more of an analysis of the actual cinematic. So first of all, as far as the cinematic itself goes, this is pretty well done. It's pretty great. Hats off to Taron Gregory and his team. Taron as the director of this cinematic and the remaining, I assume, 3 cinematics. Maybe even 4 if they have one for the Maw specifically, which is possible. I'm assuming that it's going to continue in excellence through the series. This first one is pretty damn amazing. The music, the voice acting, the settings, and we're going to be going through that. So instead of watching the whole video as one stint, I'm going to be pausing and talking about certain things as the video progresses, talking about the lore implications of it and my thoughts on it. So, with that being said, and without further ado, let's jump into it. So we're going to go ahead and crack this open here, and we'll get the video pulled up. And here we go. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. So here we have UTHER, the Lightbringer, fallen before none other than ARTHAS Menethil. Not yet fully the Lich King. Does not have the helmet, but pulling out Frostmourne, of course.
Light, save my soul.
Such a good intro, dude. Oh, Blizzard's so good at that. They're so good at that stuff. I'm gonna bring it down just a little bit.
UTHER.
Where am I?
Welcome to Bastion.
So I just want to throw out there first of all, this is Devos. I'm pretty sure her name is. She's one of the higher ups in the Kyrian. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Devos is actually a Forsworn in the game when we get there. I'm pretty sure she's the progenitor to the Forsworn based on what we're going to see in this video. And the Forsworn are basically those who have kind of fallen to despair, so to speak, and kind of branched off from the typical followings of the Kyrian. And so it seems that UTHER has been just directly retrieved by her. He went straight there. Interesting thing, UTHER asked for the light to save his soul. And later on in this, UTHER is going to separate the Kyrian from the light itself and say that he serves the light. It's interesting because he asked for the light to save his soul, but it doesn't appear to be that it's the light that does that in any capacity. It's actually Devos who comes for him directly. Now, I don't know if this is I don't exactly know how the Arbiter thing works, right? Does she already know what souls are gonna be what, and are they just sent to retrieve them specifically? I know that part of what the Kyrian does is shepherd souls from the realm of the living and death. So anyway, he's brought straight to Bastion by Devos.
You led a truly selfless life, and for that, you have been chosen.
Chosen?
To shed your mortal burdens and join the ranks of the Ascended. Serving to ferry the souls of the dead unto the Shadowlands.
I serve the light.
Right, so that's the thing. UTHER right there automatically is like, I mean, he's the light bringer, right? UTHER is kind of a big deal in the world of paladins and the light in specifically. So UTHER is kind of saying, obviously, you know, you brought me here to serve in this way, but I serve the light, and I have some other issues on my conscience at the moment. So just a way for UTHER to kind of separate the light itself from Bastion.
And my work is not done. There is an evil that must be...
There is no evil here. The darkness was sealed within the maw long ago.
Okay, so that's just like kind of like surprising, I guess, that she's just so forthcoming about that. Yeah. It's like, there's no darkness here. The jailer in the maw is obviously the darkness, and it's been sealed within the maw long ago. It's like, welcome to the Shadowlands, by the way, UTHER. We sealed away the darkness right in the maw, so you can be comfortable here. It's like, I don't know, that just seems rather forthcoming, I suppose. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but I just think they're just so open about it, of like, yeah, we locked the darkness away. Not a big fucking deal. It's all good, bro. It's everything's gravy, baby.
You're wrong. He destroyed my home, murdered my people and my king. He must be punished.
You are an aspirant now. You must accept your new purpose.
See, this is oh, I hate this shit, right? This is why I didn't trust the Kyrian in the first place, because it's like, he's obviously, they are aeons old. We don't even have a comprehension for how old the Shadowlands even is, right? We have sort of an idea, but he's obviously so hurt and grieving and attached to this former life, which I get is thematic to what the Kyrian are, right? Like shedding those burdens and becoming ascended. But they're just like, you're an aspirant now. So basically, fuck your feelings. And you better basically accept what's going on, because you now have to follow. It's like, we chose you, and it sounds like it's some kind of gift, but now you don't really have a choice, UTHER. So you're gonna break no matter how long it takes, and this is what's gonna happen. It's kind of fucked up.
Purge yourself of this desire for vengeance.
Purge yourself. The light will purge your soul. I don't know. It seems a little I don't know how I feel about that. So I don't know. So again, purging is a little bit of an something I'm not necessarily very comfortable with, because I've seen forces try to quite literally purge things out before, specifically the light, for instance. Like if you guys think back to, and this is something we're gonna definitely revisit with Garrosh in the future. If you guys think back to Mists of Pandaria, when you go in to the Siege of Orgrimmar raid, I think it's the third boss, is the Amalgamation of Corruption. So the Amalgamation of Corruption is like this huge Shaw corruption thing, and I believe it actually came to be because of actions or actions of those who are wielding the light. So for instance, you go in there and you meet this big Titan Watcher named Norushen. And Norushen's basically like, all of you are corrupted by the insidious plague known as pride. And he's like, before you can go into the next chamber and fight the Shaw of Pride, you need to purge yourselves of this insidious corruption. So you're like, okay, sure, sounds good, Norushen. Like, no one questions anything. So basically Norushen says, gird yourselves. The light is cleansing, the light will cleanse you, but it is not gentle, right? So then we literally use the light to try to purge this pride out of ourselves, which is just the most stupid thing I've ever seen, because that in and of itself is such an inherently prideful act to even try to attempt. It leads to this giant amalgamation of corruption, which we try to fight, and we do defeat, but then we go into the next room and we fight the Shaw of Pride anyway. And it turns out that this purging of this out of ourselves didn't even work in the first place. And then during the fight, the Shaw of Pride actually says things to you like, you've let pride cloud your vision, Titan puppet. You can never defeat me, right? You could never just defeat pride. You can't purge it. You can't destroy it. So when it comes to this idea of purging yourself, pride is a more potent force, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to the idea of purging yourself of things, I'm not about that, dude. I don't like that. I think that there's one good way to purge things, and that's by quite literally incinerating it. But that's a different point, They don't call me Pyromancer for no reason, so.
What I desire is justice.
Right. So she says you gotta shed this thirst for vengeance, and Uther makes the point of it's not about vengeance. It's not. What Tyranda's doing seems more about vengeance, more about hatred, and more about distaste and just wanting to get back at someone for a horrific thing that they did. Whereas Uther tends to try to lean that more towards justice of like, no, it's not about vengeance. It's about making sure that he pays for what he did, that the punishment for the crime is enacted, the justice and the retribution to do with it is carried out. I think that's what Uther's trying to lean more toward.
Devos, why are you training this soul? It is beneath your station as a paragon.
He cannot let go. He continues to demand retribution for his death.
So here's the thing. I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but I don't really care. The point is, Devos is apparently, as a paragon, supposed to be above all of this. She's not typically one, it doesn't sound like anyway, that caters directly to souls in this manner. But there's something about Uther that's really troubling Devos, something that has to be resolved. He's not letting go, and as this guy's about to say, sometimes it takes a very, very long time. But Devos sees a little bit further beyond that. I'm actually already really starting to like this character because she just doesn't seem as blind and loyal as the other ones.
And this concerns you? Many souls take eons to ascend.
Yes, but this one seems broken, Thenios. Unlike any soul I have seen. I have begun to wonder whether he was deemed worthy of Bastion. By mistake.
Be careful, Devos.
See? Listen to what he says right here.
I would not let the Archon hear such a thought.
So the Archon is the leader of Bastion. And it's like, to even have a thought of questioning how things are done is like, don't speak out of turn. You better hold your tongue. Don't let anyone hear you say things like that because you don't know what those repercussions may be. But she's basically saying, there's something wrong with his soul. There's something broken about him. And she's never seen anything like it. So unless she's just, of course, it doesn't sound like she's responsible for shepherding all the souls to Bastion that come to the Shadowlands. But she's never witnessed one that's been quite like this. So there's something specific about Uther that happened to him that has caused this really horrible thing. But it sounds like, according to her, of anyone she's ever seen visit Bastion that she's interacted with, she's never actually seen this before. So whatever happened to Uther is unique, not something she's ever witnessed.
In time, he will forget. Trust our ways. Trust the path.
See, she seems very suspicious of it. Her eyes narrow. She's not so sure about it.
Devos, how long must we train?
Until you are ready to ascend.
She's kind of hot, by the way.
And what is keeping me from ascension?
Nothing but the memory of your mortal life.
How can I forget when I can still feel his blade?
Here we go.
Your soul is wounded? Who did this to you?
He was my student. He betrayed us all.
Show me.
So through this wound, she's about to witness what happened to Uther. And we all know what happened to Uther, right? Your boy ARTHAS came around and fucked on him. So here's the thing, though. The power that ARTHAS wielded had the power to actually damage his soul, right? Now, I can only really think, at least from what I can remember, I can really only think of one other force that directly does that kind of thing. And it's the one wielded by the demonic burning legion, the Fel, which seems to consume the soul. I'm not sure if it's actually damaging it or destroying it or how exactly that works in order to fuel its magic. But this magic that ARTHAS has wielded has actually wounded his soul in a very meaningful way. But again, this is something that Devos has never seen, right? So I don't know if that implies that she's never seen a soul that is actually wounded like this, or if it's specific to something else in this manner. But we're about to witness something very, very interesting. I'm going to pause up here at this part as well. Okay, so this part here, I haven't actually stopped to take a real close look at this one, because this is interesting to me. You can see his soul split, and obviously Frostmourne is ripping out part of his soul, which is the blue part, which is going to be sucked into the sword, and then the golden part is going to fly off into the sky. So this is probably one of the hugest implications of this entire video, because I'm not exactly sure what they're trying to represent here. Obviously, UTHER serves the light and is in some capacity bound to the light, right? I'm thinking that golden part is probably the part of him that is like in some capacity bound to the light. So the interesting thing about that part of him, though, is that as you look at the blue part, it's very defined. You can see UTHER, you can see very clearly that that is him. This one, though, it's hard to tell. It doesn't really look so much. Oh, it's upside down. I see how they did that. So here's his hair going forward, and there's the nose. So it's actually upside down. I was looking at it the other way around. Interesting way that they've done that. But UTHER's soul is quite literally being severed apart. I wonder if, obviously something similar to this happened to Sylvanas, but I wonder what all this sword and what all this power is actually capable of doing, because this is very fucking interesting. But obviously his soul is actually damaged because of this. So you see the light part fly off, and you see this part bound to the sword. So at that point, I'm not sure. Is this the part that Devos retrieves? Does that go to the light? Does the light, is this broken apart and the light's like, yoink, I'm going to claim back that part of UTHER that, that I am bound to. That's very interesting. But then obviously this part goes to Frostmourne. So I'm assuming that if there's any part of UTHER's soul that Devos was able to get a hold of, it was this one. But perhaps there's even something left here as a remnant that she was able to get a hold of. Maybe that's why he's quite literally broken. I'm unsure, obviously, but UTHER's soul is in some capacity being severed here, so...
The runes on his blade were unmistakable. This dark agent runs free on a mortal world with the power of the Maw itself in hand.
So there it is. There it is. We've kind of seen it since they first showed us the jailer. But there it is. The runes on ARTHAS' sword are directly in relation to the Maw and the power within it. ARTHAS is basically walking around, potentially wielding the power of the jailer directly. Okay. I might have said that at one point. That may have happened. But regardless, she's very, very concerned, because basically the power of the Maw has escaped into a mortal realm. And that's very interesting because of what we know about Frostmourne, right? Now, there's some mixed things about Frostmourne at this point, because what we were told previously is that beings, the Dreadlords, helped to craft Frostmourne. And given what we're seeing in Revendreth, I'm not necessarily against that still. But this is kind of tying the Legion and the power that was granted to ARTHAS, apparently by the Legion. It's kind of linking them directly to the jailer. Now, is that a link of allegiance? We don't know. It wouldn't surprise me in any capacity if it were, but it is basically saying the Legion did, in a way, wield these powers and pass on these powers that actually may have come directly from the jailer, and at least did come from the Maw. But if it comes from the Maw, I think the inherent connection is that it's probably coming from the jailer. As it comes from Bastion, it's probably stemming from the Archon or the Winter Queen in Ardenweald, etc. Right? It's all it's all linked together in layers. But this has been passed to a mortal realm. Now, one of the other things I think that's been more recently discussed is that the sword itself was like stolen. I presume that this sword would have been crafted by the rune carver, who we've seen more of lately in data mining. So we don't know specifically if the Dreadlords were directly involved and made a deal. Maybe, I mean, shit. Think about like the leader in Revendreth. Sire Denathrius, he has a, what's his sword called? It's like Remornia or something like that. He basically has like a rune sword that has like intelligence to it, and I'm pretty sure can even speak. It wouldn't blow my mind if Denathrius got his hands on that sword and then traded it to Dreadlords or something like that, given that Denathrius and that entire area has like Dreadlordy vibes. That wouldn't shock me. But regardless of whether or not it was a deal, if it was stolen, if it was something that they had crafted specifically for their use, maybe this is long-term meant to aid the jailer. Maybe Sargeras and the jailer were inherently in cahoots with one another. Again, that kind of thing wouldn't really shock me, considering that Sargeras and the Legion kind of went around the universe using death fire to try to like purge mortal souls. So I have some ideas about the Maw and the jailer that I want to discuss more, more in depth in the future. But again, the point is that this power of the Maw has been delivered unto a mortal world, and she is very concerned about that. And I think for good reason. It's an incredible power. The Lich King is the Lich King was super powerful. Something that pretty much couldn't be reckoned with by basically anything. So this is a huge concern. And she's voicing that to the Archon, but doesn't go like she would hope.
Our realm is imperiled!
Impossible. The Maw is inescapable. You must return to the path.
If he had purged his life, we never would have known of this calamity! The path is flawed!
Enough!
The order of the Shadowlands depends on the execution of our eternal charge.
Ooh.
You will abandon this course.
Dude, are you fucking kidding me right now? Are you fucking kidding me? One of your paragons comes to you with knowledge that the power of the jailer has escaped the Maw. There is literal physical evidence on the fucking soul of UTHER. And you're just like, no, you stop investigating this. Like, what? You return to the path. These blind idiots on the side are like, that cannot be true. The Maw's inescapable. And it's like, well, obviously fucking not. Like, obviously something happened that allowed for this power to get out of the Shadowlands. It's like, here's... I have video evidence of the murderer committing the murder. Wrong! Escape this path! Leave the... Like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Bastion is so stupid. Like, this Archon bitch, this whole, like, dogmatic, believe in the path, believe in the purpose, believe in the order. It's like... Oh, yikes. It reminds me so much of the Titans. I don't like it at all, dude. I don't like any of that.
As you command, my Archon.
Oh, but obviously she ain't having none of that, dude. So you can see the contrast. She's becoming darker as you have the illumination of Bastion behind her. This is the spawn of the Forsworn, right? Those who leave Bastion and the ideals and pursue a different cause. We're about to get into some real spicy stuff in just a minute here. But again, like, this is just either blind ignorance, this dogmatic follow the path and nothing else, and this is really just the way that they are, or someone is in on it, where they're like, yeah, I know, Devos, we know this is going on. Would you shut the fuck up and get back in line and follow the purpose? Because I'm working on something here, okay? Wink, wink, wink. So it's one of those two things, like, and it's probably the former of like, yeah, this is just believe it. Yeah, dude.
UTHER! The time of your ascension has come.
I thought I was not
The
ready.
music is so
Do
good.
you wish to see him punished?
I do.
Then prepare yourself. The moment he falls, we will claim him.
Okay, before we watch this. Oh, that shot is so fucking sick. Okay. Before we watch this part, that just showed me something interesting. UTHER had not yet moved beyond the burdens or whatever, right? And she still ascended him anyway. I think that's super interesting because it just goes to show they can do it whenever they want. It's not about meeting prerequisites because it's required in order to assume the form. No, they can do it anytime they want to. But they basically kind of force these people in a very manipulative way to let go of who they were in order for them to fit in with their ideals. But part of me has to wonder, is that itself inherently flawed? Is there something maybe a little bit wrong with doing that? And maybe it didn't used to be that way because it's made very clear. UTHER had not yet moved past, but he was granted the ascension anyway. So it makes me wonder, those two things again. Has it always been that way? Or would Bastion be better off maybe letting people be who they were, knowing what they knew in life, and ascending anyway? I don't know. I haven't played Bastion. Maybe that's part of the storyline. I'm assuming it is. It seems like that's like the main theme. So anyway, what she says right there, as soon as ARTHAS passes, we will go and claim him. Interesting thing, because that seems to basically say that, well, there's a couple things that could happen here. Let's go on here, because I want to show you this. There's actually two different ways this could go.
I see. Only darkness before me.
Oh yeah. The maw looks awesome. Yet again, orange, fiery red combined with black. Never seen that before.
Now, cast him into the maw. Return him to the darkness he served.
So again, she basically is saying ARTHAS, as in wielding that power, she, as far as she knows anyway, was literally serving the jailer directly, which I don't think is far-fetched at all. He wore a helmet that was kind of he ended up wearing a helmet that was kind of mind controlling him. Like, what the fuck? And there's like another entity hidden within it. Obviously, we know about Ner'zhul, right? Obviously, we know that. But there's something, as we've learned more recently, there's something even deeper and darker in that helmet. It's linked to the jailer. For fucking sure, dude. So he was kind of in a way serving the jailer directly, which kind of makes me wonder, yet again, is that a tie between the jailer and the Burning Legion? And if it is, then what Sylvanas is doing? Ooh, I got some shit to say about Sylvanas. And I've said it before, but we'll get into that. Again, they go and retrieve his body directly, which means two things to me. It either means she basically went against what the Arbiter's choice would have been, because at this point the Arbiter is still functioning, right? This is far before Legion. This is far before the Arbiter is broken. Or ARTHAS was actually going to go to Bastion. He was actually going to go there like UTHER did, which is fucking crazy to think about. What? And she was like, we'll go and claim him, but we're not going to take him to Bastion. We're going to take him to the fucking maw. But what's scary to me is that she basically is showing us that they have the power to retrieve a soul and take it to the maw if they want to. They could go and fucking chuck you in the maw. And they're very close to the maw, obviously. So being in proximity of it isn't necessarily dangerous. Doesn't mean you're going to get sucked in necessarily. But it basically is like a prison door. They're going to throw him in the well. So this is a huge revelation because it's basically, we're finding out that UTHER, in a way, he's the one that casts ARTHAS into the maw. That's fucking awesome. That's so fucking awesome.
His eternal suffering awaits.
He was my student.
Remember what he did, and take your vengeance.
Not vengeance. Justice.
What a cool shot, dude. Oh, it's so fucking awesome. so fucking awesome, dude. I love that because, again, UTHER is separating the vengeance thing. It's not about vengeance. It's about making sure that ARTHAS paid for what he did. Part of me feels kind of bad because ARTHAS is, again, one of those characters who, unfortunately, his personality made him very susceptible to manipulation and trickery, and he was being tricked by some of the most insidious and dark creatures we've ever come across in the cosmos. It's fucked up, and it's kind of sad, really. But again, it's that classic fall of the hero who does a horrible thing, and I think that you have to try to find those gray areas where ARTHAS wasn't completely under somebody's control and still made a decision or did things that just maybe weren't quite the right choice. Okay, and that's a different discussion. You can have a whole debate about that in and of itself. But again, for UTHER, it seems less about the hatred, less about the vengeance, and more about the retribution and more about the justice. So it's interesting because in a way, UTHER is in that way, he's still kind of conforming to service to the light, right? He's not necessarily trying to enact vengeance, but trying to fulfill tenets more specific to the light. And right, I think vengeance is in a way one of them, but I think some of the more admirable or, some of the more ones that people aspire toward are justice and retribution. So interesting. So we see ARTHAS fall into the maw. This is what a huge lore revelation that is. That's fucking awesome. That's so awesome, dude. And so we see him fall into the maw. Does that mean that we will see ARTHAS in the maw? Probably. I mean, I can't imagine they go to these lengths and then we don't end up even seeing ARTHAS. I can't imagine, right? I mean, the Blizzard devs have openly admitted that they, we're gonna have hints and nods to ARTHAS, but are we actually gonna have like full-blown ARTHAS coming back, or ARTHAS like redemption, or what? I don't know. So that's basically the situation. So I'm thinking that we'll probably see some type of at least cameo. So yeah, that's the cinematic, dude. Very, very good. Some really cool stuff about the jailer to be pulled from that. And this is just the first one. This is just the first of 4. So, wow. That is so sick. I'm not sure what... Again, one of the big implications of this is that the maw holds power to actually wound a soul. And I wonder what that means. With that all being said, you guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry for the hiccup there in the middle. I was streaming and recording at the same time and hit my encoding overloads, so I lost the camera and I had to re-record part of the video. So anyway, the audio stayed good, which is the most important part. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button. Smash that fucking like button. Literally break that fucking like button. I would certainly appreciate that. It's the best way to support me here on YouTube and the best way to let me know that you enjoy my content here as well. A special thank you and a huge shout out to all of my patrons. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys for helping to support me, the channel, and everything that we do here. I really appreciate you guys very much. Again, the Patreon Q&A for August is going live at patreon.com/pyromancer. And if you guys want to contribute to that, all you have to do is be a $2 supporter or higher. So thank you guys so much for all of that. If you guys did enjoy, hit the subscribe button. 60% of you are not subscribed. What the fuck? Okay? Hit that subscribe button, get behind the channel, and you will be able to be notified of any time new lore videos come out. And I'm going to be doing one of these for every single one of these Afterlife cinematics. You can bet on it. I'm very excited to be back, you guys. Shadowlands is looking slick. Shadowlands is looking real good. This was actually recorded live over at twitch.tv/Pyromancer. So go ahead over there, make a Twitch account if you don't have one already, and give me a follow. There are actually live stream discussions about World of Warcraft, sometimes reading parts of the books, and things like recording videos live when it goes smoothly as it's supposed to. So yeah, make sure you guys hit that up. And the last thing is my Twitter, twitter.com/PyromancerSarg, where I actually tweet about World of Warcraft stuff all the time. I instantly tweeted about this shit when it first came out and gave a couple thoughts on there. So if you guys want to get hooked up with that, Pyromancer Sarg on Twitter. But that's pretty much it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. I can't wait for the next ones, and I can't wait for Shadowlands. Let's fucking go, dude. All right. I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay awesome. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.